Well. 3 holes in the ground and along comes episode 2. I must admit, starting episode 2 is a lot harder than starting episode 1. It's interesting that. Not quite sure why. I guess it comes back down to the fear of perfection and, wanting it to be a jewel. But then I remembered that the whole point of this thing was just to sit down and do something in an hour. So here I am, beginning again. After fanning around with some levels, he's ready to go. It was definitely something that was on my mind because I'm sitting at my desk here and I pulled out a copy of Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott, and I wanted to read you a quote. It's on perfectionism. Quote, "Perfectionism is the voice of the oppressor, the enemy of the people. It will keep you cramped and insane your whole life. It is the main obstacle between you and the shitty first draft. I think perfectionism is based on the obsessive belief that if you run carefully enough, hitting each stepping stone just right, you won't have to die. The truth is, you will die." And it's on that cheery note that we address some of the feedback sent through from last week's episode. So, first of all, Kia Kreutler from kia.bio. I don't fuck with short podcasts. My brother, whose entire web presence is under a pseudonym. I think it's cop-out that the intro is 20 plus seconds. Hugh Lemmy of twitter.com/Hugh Lemmy. Its tone seems very much for friends. Stephen Fortune of stephenfortune.net. Time well spent on the opening jingle IMO. Alex Andrews of alexandrews.info. I like to hear the sound of your voice. Maybe call the episodes the total time elapsed so far. Benedict Singleton of Rival Strategy writes, you should try and be the crypto aggro Joe Frank, late night radio style. Dr. Kane Bidwell. You should move your face away from the mic when you breathe. Well, thank you, Kane. I'm surprised you didn't tell me to stop breathing altogether. And thank you to everybody else who sent through encouraging feedback. I really appreciated it, and especially to my girlfriend Eve, who said that she was proud and she was really glad that I kind of got up off the couch and was doing something and putting it out on the net instead of just doing something in a Word document and then it never seeing the light of day. And that was really nice, and it's one of the reasons why I'm here doing this second episode. And that concludes the backslapping part of the show, making myself feel good from all of your kind words. Thank you very much. Appreciate it once again. One of the things that I was thinking I could kind of move into was just on the idea of feedback in general. I mean, feedback's good. It's helped me a lot in my career and in my life, hearing the opinions of other people about the work that I've produced. But there's also a fear of it, like that you don't want to... Well, that I don't want to receive bad feedback or negative feedback. It was the negative feedback that had the biggest influence on me. I remember being told at a office job that I worked at that a thing that I produced was shit. Just straight to my face was shit. And that I needed to stop writing like a philosophy graduate, and I needed to start writing more like I was someone who worked in an office. There's a lot of that, like I used to get a lot of feedback about my emails at work being too overly flowery and I should get straight to the point, and then move to another company and then you get told negatively that your emails are too short and that you should add some of the flowery stuff back in, not to hurt someone's feelings. Feedback. It's a weird word, isn't it? I just looked it up on Google Ngram and it kind of didn't exist before sort of 1940, and it reached its kind of average peak in 1980. Such a weird word. I mean, if you Google it and look for quotes, almost all of it is Silicon Valley and tech founders talking about feedback is very important, blah, blah, blah. What did people call it before? Does anyone know? I guess we called it criticism and constructive criticism, but, that's just a thought. Speaking of which, I'm thinking about doing this podcast twice a week instead of just the once on Tuesdays and Thursdays. What do you think? Sounds like a challenge. I don't know. My hour's up and I've got to get ready because I'm going back to the chalk for Easter. Please send any criticism or constructive criticism through either via DMs or email. Thank you very much for listening. As always, I'm at the JMO on the socials, and this has been episode 1802 of Permanently Moved.online, a podcast in 301 seconds.